let's move on to the contents of what we'll be covering today. Here's a quick overview. So the first one would be anxiety and COVID-19, why we're feeling the way we are feeling. And we'll be covering some particular challenges we are facing at work, home, family life, when we go back to work. I'll also talk about tips to reduce anxiety and how we can build a care community within our workplace by having supportive conversations, such as being open and understanding that everyone has their own way of dealing with their stress and anxiety. And I'll also be touching on how to connect with kindness and how it will be beneficial to coping with your own anxiety. Lastly, I'll discuss on 5 ways to well-being that helps mitigate any kind of anxiety in the long run. Throughout these, I will not be looking at the chat box while I'm talking because I'll be really distracted. But Ken will be monitoring and will be flagging out some of the really important questions that we can address during our 15 minutes Q&A at the end. All right, so without further ado, let's begin. The first one is anxiety and COVID-19. As we all have collectively adapted to these disruptive effects of the pandemic, we certainly have evolved our behaviors in life and at work to adapt and thrive. For those who are fortunate enough to not lose their jobs, or worse, they undoubtedly have to make significant changes on how they can accomplish their work in order to stay productive and competitive in this new operating environment. I can imagine how tough these can be, flex new muscles and be comfortable in it. And this can be increasingly stressful for most of us. The difficulty with COVID-19 is the threat, and it's still very much present. The concern of managing and maintaining good mental health and physical health overall is crucial. So although Singapore has the highest vaccination rate in the world, the work is beginning to think about other possibilities to expand and utilize at the maximum possible. So at this point, there are many questions rather than definitive answers. Some of the questions we might have is that what kind of expectations will my employer have of me? Is there any kind of flexibility around it? What will work look like in the next coming months? What are the chances of me or my colleagues getting infected at work? What are the types of measures in place that we can all stay safe? I think this is really fair questions to be asking. Employers and employees alike are all grappling with the expectations, what work will look like moving forward as we begin to put the pandemic behind us. I think one of the key obstacles is the fact that no one really have an answer for all of us at this point, and these can create a lot of uncertainties. The lack of clear answer weighs on people, some more than others. So a little bit about the understanding of anxiety. Unlike fear, which is one of the stress responses to an immediate danger, anxiety is an ongoing sense of worry. Anxiety happens when we become overwhelmed with our emotions, especially fear, and want to avoid situations that make us more anxious in that environment. So we may be feeling a lot during this current pandemic as we attempt to adapt to these new work expectations. Having said that, we also need to acknowledge that our responses to this uncertain situation is just natural. We may experience different things such as social anxiety as we find ourselves mixing with others again. We might feel worried for ourselves and our families because of the changes in routine and the potential risk of coming into contact with COVID-19 at work and public spaces. So in the next following slides, I'll be sharing tips on how to navigate through some of these challenges at workplace, home, and family. Some of the challenges at workplace would be getting back to face-to-face meetings, getting used to new social standards and changes in policies and procedures, feeling unsure of your role at work, work, the performance level, and the ability to express your concerns with your supervisors without the fear of backlash or ridicule. The other one I would think is worrying about physical distance and what to do if others are not keeping that distance. I know like all of us are like getting really excited about intermingling, but these are really common fears that most of the employees are facing. And I think the last one would be being back to work, we are more tired than usual due to traveling for work again, socializing, and so on. These are some of the challenges, and there are so many other challenges which I won't be touching upon here because I felt that these are the most common things that is addressed with anxiety at workplace.